most exciting week in football.
Anyone that's ever watched AFL know that the umpires don't.
I know that.
The point is, I think Hawthorn are going to win. They're going to be hurting from 2012. I think when they were favourites and Sydney came out and beat
I'm
them.
not sure if 2012 will come
Welcome back, everyone. John Donohoe and Peter Seros here, and look at that. That's a fancy new introduction. We are back for 2015, everyone, and good God, am I excited. Footy's back. Peter and I are back, and we do have a special guest. Now, unfortunately, he isn't in the studio today. He pulled out just about 5 or 6 minutes ago, But Peter, before I introduce you, we will be getting him on the line in 3 to 4 minutes' time to ask him why he's not here. Now, the great man, yourself, Tigers are up and about early in 2015. Welcome back to you. It's good to be back, isn't it?
Mate, I've been looking forward to this for the past couple of weeks since the show was approved. Can't wait. I couldn't wait. And now we're back. And Richmond are not firing. What are you talking about? We sucked last week. It was horrid. The only team that's firing are the scarf you're wearing around your necks in Kilda. I can't believe that they've got the win and Richmond don't. But, that's footy. We've got, the next hour we're talking about footy. So.
Well, correct. And a new time slot this year as well. Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. every single week. So we're going to have the up-to-date teams. We're going to have team news as it comes out as well. I like this new time slot, Pete, and we've got plenty to talk about now as well.
Whether you liked it or not, it was going to stay. It's not up to you. It's up to me.
Now, obviously, there is one omission this year. Young Nick Harrison, who was an integral part of the team last season, he was unfortunately unable to join us on Fridays. Obviously a clash with work. So we wish Nick the best and we thank him for his service last year, and I'm sure we'll get him on at some point throughout this season. Now, Pete, let's get straight into it, mate. Let's get straight into it. What have you made so far of the 2015 season?
Now, so far in the 2015 season, we've seen one team in particular who a lot of people thought would, be a big part of September. And so far, they're sitting 2-0. Zip and 2, sorry. Geelong. Now, is it a downfall or is it just a form slip?
Well, that's a very good point you raise. And for all those people out there who want to get involved with us in this topic, 0427 767 767 is the phone text line. So get involved, please. And we'll read them out throughout the show. Now, Geelong, is it a form slump? I don't think so. If we look back, I've got some stats here. If we look back to the 2004 season, they went 0-3. They were zipping 3. Obviously, after 3 rounds, they went they ended up 1-4 after 5 rounds. They ended up making a prelim final that season in 2004. And obviously, 3 years later, playing off in a grand final and winning it against Port Adelaide. So you never write a team like Geelong off, but they are aging slightly. And the first 2 weeks haven't been all that convincing.
It is a very different side from the side that they lined up in 2004, though. I mean, most of those players aren't there. I can't think of many players that were there from 2004 till now. I mean,
Enright might have been Stevie J. Enright,
no, Enright was.
Yeah.
So was Stevie J. I'm just saying. But apart from that, there wasn't really anyone else that lined up.
They were obviously a lot more talented back in 07, 08 when they played in all those grand finals. They obviously had the cattle, and a lot of them are still there, obviously. But they're just not firing on all cylinders as they once were. It was interesting to hear Geelong coach Chris Scott's thoughts about this when he was asked. He goes, "We're not in the habit of talking about what we used to be. I'm sick to death of hearing what Geelong used to be. We're focused on what we are now." So obviously he is firmly with the belief that Geelong need to do a lot of work this season, and he's not talking about what they were back in their premiership years, and that's great from him.
No, it's great to see that. I mean, I hate it when, being a Richmond fan, I hate it when they keep comparing the new team to the team of the past. Yeah, like, for instance, these teams had great teams in the past, but you're right, it is now the future. We're entering a new era for Geelong, and they should try to make finals still. They have the crop to do it. They have a great group of players that can push for finals, and we saw it last year. We've seen it the year before. They're genuine finals contenders. Mitch Clark, he's a good recruit. Like I know they're not winning many games, and he hasn't dominated any as of yet, but he will slowly get into that rhythm, and he will start dominating for them. We know he's capable of it.
Absolutely, he will. And he showed his form in the NAB Cup, obviously kicking 6 goals against Adelaide. Him and Hawkins down there probably not gelling as well as they should right now, but give it time. Give it time. In the middle of the season, I mean, it took Franklin and Tippett a lot of time to work out each other's game. And look at them now. They both play absolutely spot on football. Tippett goes up the ground, Franklin will stay deep. Franklin goes up the ground, Tippett will stay deep. So it'll take them a while to work out how each other plays and how they're supposed to go about it. But Mitch Clark, I mean, a huge recruit for Geelong, and you know, I'm not writing Geelong off yet. I think that they're too good a team to be written off, and you know, wait till the middle of the year, mate. It's only early so far.
Something which you did last year. I think it was Sydney that was sitting in this position last year, this time.
Correct.
And it looked like they were potentially not going to be playing finals after the first 4 or 5 rounds.
What did I do? I tipped them to make the grand final, didn't I?
You did, but at the time, you and me both said that, you know, their form was slipping, that they could potentially not make the grand final.
Correct.
Turn this season around. They started gelling together.
Don't throw me under the bus there.
No,
you said
they couldn't.
You said they couldn't make the grand final.
I said both.
I
said both.
I did not say that.
No. I'm pretty sure it's on
from an early point. Don't you dare throw me under the bus. I'm going to get our old video and I'm going to make sure that you said it. I'm pretty sure. Do not throw me under the bus like that.
Anyway, enough. Okay. I said, and you said as well, that they potentially could not play finals in the form that they're in at the moment. All right?
Correct.
They switched it around. They turned it around, made grand final, and let's be honest, they were probably one of the favourites leading into the grand final. Obviously, they were. You know, I think they were favourites leading in. They did unfortunately lose, but the point is, they had the second best side in the AFL. So don't write Geelong off. It's only 2 rounds in.
Perfect.
You can write Carlton off.
Well, we'll talk about them a bit later, but it's the old adage, you never write a champion team off, and they are a champion team. Clearly, they've done what a lot of teams weren't able to do in the modern era. You know, they won, three premierships over 5 years or something like that. Obviously, they lost Ablett. They've lost a couple of players through retirement and trading and stuff like that, but they've also brought some key players in. So, I definitely, as I said before, see them bouncing back in the short term.
But it was the players that they picked up while they were winning the premierships. Mitch Duncan, Alan Christensen, Motlop. They just kept on bringing these players in. And I don't know how they did it when teams like, let's be honest, Richmond were at the bottom all those years and they didn't pick up that many stars. I mean, they picked up a few, but not too many.
Yeah, correct. And that's probably why Richmond are where they are right now, as you would well know, sitting in their favourite position on the ladder, 9th currently. So
St Kilda are doing well at the bottom as well, aren't they?
Well, we're actually 8th on the ladder. We're actually 8th on the ladder.
How'd you guys do in the finals last year? Oh, you didn't make it.
We would have done better than you.
Did you win a game last year, by the way?
At least we would know to kick with the wind instead of against the wind, all right? So
that was a pretty bored.
So you just piped down there. Thanks, Tigerland. But anyway, mate, the Tigers are on track, I definitely think, and the Cats are as well. So we'll go to a break. More from Peter and I after the break. Welcome back to This Week in Footy. John Donohoe and Peter Seros here with you. Our special guest going to join us on the line very shortly. We're keeping you in suspense. If you've got any ideas as to who you think it might be, 0427 767 767.
You're a moron. Re-announced it on the Facebook.
You announced it on the Facebook. That's all right. He'll be joining us.
You can still text us in if you want to guess.
Yeah, he'll be joining us shortly if you want to. Want us to ask him a question. Now, quickly, Pete, you want to talk about a mob that you hate? Carlton.
I don't hate them, but,
you
have to admit they're not doing very well.
No, they're not. They're not, and they're another side sitting 0-2. Almost came back against Richmond. Played all right, I reckon, in round 1, but in round 2 they were pretty poor, and obviously things not going their way. Probably an upside for them though is Chris Judd. He's looking all right. He's looking like his old self again.
Great. Probably, that's the upside. A 31-year-old is starting to.
Well,
that's the upside.
If that's the upside,
great upside. He potentially is playing his last season in the AFL, and that's Carlton's upside for you. Yeah, you guys are looking great entering the future.
Me? Oh, what are you?
No, I'm just kidding.
Would Mick Malthouse's job be up for discussion? Do you think?
Yes, I do, and it's sad to say because obviously he left Collingwood in a way that you wouldn't want to leave, especially after, making the grand final, winning the premiership the year before that. Goes to Carlton. They make a final series. I know they technically didn't make the finals, but sort of did at the same time. And they made it to the semi-final. The next year, they missed it. And this year, they're looking like they're going to miss it again. And it is a sad way to end. Extension, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, they've got a lot of work to do, Carlton. You and I obviously do a YouTube channel that during the week. And on it, I continuously say that... I can't read Carlton, but I said to you this week that I've probably started to get a better picture of where Carlton are at, and it's not looking good for them. And I think I was listening to another radio station today where they came up with a really good stat. 13 of Carlton's 13 players on Carlton's list are top 13 draft picks. And not in the last two years, and that doesn't bode well for a team. They've traded a lot of them out. They've got the talent there. But they're just not utilising it.
That's the thing. I think a lot of that talent, like you said, that a lot of those players are top 13 draft picks, but how many of them have really had those standout seasons? Obviously, Andrew Walker has had a pretty good career so far.
Murphy had a pretty good career.
Murphy's done well.
Gibbs is starting.
He's one of best and fairest.
Judd obviously wasn't drafted by Carlton, but he was in the top. He was a top 10 pick. Cruiser hasn't done much.
No, he hasn't.
Well, he's just been injured all the time.
And Walker's had the same problem as him.
And Walker plays his first game this weekend. Actually, he returns from injury, which is great. But there's problems down there at Carlton, and if they don't rectify them soon, it's going to be a real slow rebuild, which is a word they've used, a slow rebuild for Carlton over the next few years.
I think one of the main problems is the fact that they've just gotten rid of their best forwards over the past 4 years. Think about it, their best forwards.
Jared Waite.
Yeah. Jeff Garlett.
Yep.
And Eddie Betts. And where are they playing now? North Melbourne, Adelaide and Melbourne. And they're kicking goals for them instead of Carlton.
You and I talked about this the other day as well. Those three players, I think, combined over the last 3 seasons, when they were playing for Carlton together, I think provided Carlton with 187 goals.
A piece. It was each.
Yeah.
Or something like each
over their career at Carlton or something like that.
Yeah, over the past 3 years only. And all 3 of them are gone. There is
Correct.
literally none of their main goal kickers for over the past 4 or 5 seasons at the Blues still. And that is definitely one of their reasons... of their form slip.
I like it. I do. It's not. We shouldn't bash Carlton too much. I do like the look of Troy Menzel. Obviously, he's injured this week, but I like the look of Menzel. Tui was a really good find from Ireland. He's one of the better Irish players coming into the system at the moment. But apart from those two, obviously Gibbs and Murphy, they're good. But would Murphy? Someone raised this to me the other day. Would Murphy get a game in Hawthorn's best 18?
The form that he's in now, no.
Correct.
At his best, yes, easily at his best.
I disagree.
At his best, he's won an All-Australian and best and fairest.
Even at his best, I reckon in a champion team like Hawthorn, I think he'd be potentially the 24th man. I think he'd be on the cusp, but he wouldn't be a superstar at a team like Hawthorn.
But that's the thing. We've got to look at it. Carlton have made finals with Murphy at the helm, and that's the thing. They've made finals with him, and he's dominated in those finals. I think they made 3 in a row, didn't they? And that's the thing. He can play, so I think that's a bit of a poor call for you. We're going to head off to a song. This song is not my choice. It's John Donahoe's choice.
It's not my choice.
It's a bit of 1D.
We're going to have a special guest with us on the phone after this.
After the break.
Yeah, great song choice there, Pete. Really good from you. Welcome back to This Week in Footy.
Don't blame that on
John
me.
Donahoe and Peter Seros here. Now, we teased you throughout the week with a special new guest host coming on board, and we were very much expecting the man himself to be in the studio, but once again, he calls me about half an hour ago and tells me he cannot make it. Now, Cale Morton, welcome. What's your story, mate?
G'day, boys. Thanks for having me on. And I really apologise I couldn't make it in today, but as you know, much like my footy career, I don't like the wet, so I stay indoors.
Very, very good. Now, mate, you will be joining us throughout the season. You were very excited to be part of this. This is a lucrative contract, mate, that you've been given here. Probably bigger than your footy career one as well.
No, No, absolutely. Pretty pumped to be on board, actually. I've heard a lot about the show, and I know it's going to be bigger than Ben Hur this year. It started off with a bang, bit of One Direction there. Let's hope the music choices improve along with the show.
Yeah, we'll leave that to you.
No, don't worry, mate. I'll be doing the music choices from now on. John's never picking another one again.
Now, Morto, tell us, you're playing in the VFL this year. You're playing for Coburg.
Yeah, mate. So I made the decision at the end of last year that I wanted to break my contract with the Perth Demons in the Waffle, and I wanted to play footy in the VFL again, and I really think it's the premier competition in Australia below the AFL, and I just wanted to give myself the best chance I could of hopefully one day making it back into the AFL, and the decision was made. It was tough to leave my two brothers behind in Perth, playing footy with them, but I've really done it with a goal in mind of playing in the best competition and the highest level of football that I can, really.
Now, I tried to lure you down to a footy club in Kew called the Old Zavarians, and you flat out rejected me. So, if you'd like to apologise to all the Old Zavarians out there for just abusing us, really, and just using us as pawns.
Mate, it's not true at all. In actual fact, I was in open discussions with the hierarchy down at Old Zavs, and look, I was almost across the line, but I said to them, is there a chance I'll have to see John Donohoe during the week? And they said he will be here on some training night. And I said, I'm sorry, guys, not this year.
So you probably wouldn't have played with him. His shoulders haven't held up over the past couple of years. How many games have you played in?
That's the issue, Donohoe. Your shoulders are made of chalk, mate.
Well, yeah.
You've started you started joining in the VFL again. Are you looking forward to it this year? I mean, who are the clubs that you really want to play against? I mean, I know there are some big teams out there. Obviously, Collingwood are pretty much Collingwood's reserve sides. Richmond have their own reserve sides as well.
Yeah, look, that's one of the reasons, like I said, I came over to Victoria. I played a bit of footy in the VFL during my time at Melbourne, but, playing in the Waffle last year just made me realise that, the best standard of football that I could be playing at was against other AFL players and in a competition that has more of an AFL influence and an AFL feel, and that is the VFL. So that was basically what my decision was based on.
Now, sorry about that. You got some more.
Alone, they broke away from Richmond, or Richmond went and made their own VFL reserve side. So, look, to their credit, they're in their second year now, and they're hoping to make a bit of an impact, and they're certainly building quite a good club culture down there, and hopefully they can get a few more wins than they did last year and keep building.
Yeah, now, Morts, the good news for you is that Brendan Lade doesn't play in the VFL anymore, so you'll be free to run to the ball instead of away from it this year for Coburg. Now, how's your pre-season gone, mate?
Yeah, look, I hadn't done much of a pre-season before I joined Coburg in mid-January, and part of the reason was I'm a firm believer that pre-seasons are too long. Look, I was able to whip myself into shape this season in about 4 weeks. So I know everyone's different, and the pre-season usually caters to the most unfit of people. But look, I sort of have a bit of a theory that all I need is 4 to 8 weeks to get myself in good condition to play footy, and it's a little bit out there, and it's a bit of a left of field sort of opinion, but I think pre-seasons are too long. So I'm happy with my shortened pre-season, and I'm looking forward to round one, and certainly it'll be full of run, or as full of run as the guys that started way back in October, November anyway. I
agree. Pre-seasons are too long, and one practice match will do me, and then I'm ready to go, usually going into a season. So I love that we agree on something here, Mort.
Not really, because you'd injure your shoulder, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I would.
Well, my problem with pre-seasons is these days the pre-season goes for longer than the season, and being at an AFL club or involved in AFL for 6 years, it made me realise that blokes were earning so much respect for how they went about it during the pre-season, and then it came to the season, and they couldn't get a kick on the G, on a perfect day, but gee, they could run 1,500 metres or 500 metres really well, so they were getting gains on the back of that, and it just, to me, it's all about that home and away season and then playing finals. So I think pre-seasons are a bit too long.
That's fair enough. Now, we've been talking on the show about Carlton and Geelong. What are your thoughts about them? Where do you think Geelong and Carlton will end up on the ladder, and how do you think they're travelling?
This is where you earn your keep, Morts.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I think Carlton are going to struggle this year, especially if like a Judd or a Murphy or a Gibbs goes down. They're not left with much. In particular, their forward line has been pretty depleted. So I just can't see how they're going to kick a winning goal. But having said that, Mick Moldhouse is capable of getting them up and going. He's probably, one of the better coaches going around, so we've got to give him that respect. And if they can, prevent other teams from scoring, they're probably going to win a few games on the back of, kicking 10 or 11 goals. So I think, they've still got a chance of winning a few games. I don't think they'll play finals. And Geelong, you can never write them off. They are a champion side. They've proven themselves over the best part of, 10 years now. So, I think they'll be competitive, but, I don't think they'll be playing a home final or getting a second chance this year. And if they make the finals, they might not go too far.
Yeah, now, Mort, just quickly before we let you go, you said before you do still harbour aspirations to play in the AFL. Obviously, played at 2 clubs. Do you think you're still capable of having an impact at the highest level?
Yeah, look, I do, mate. I do, and I think this year with Coburg, I'm going to probably play predominantly in the back line, and that's something that really excites me because running around in the midfield in the VFL. Anyone, can get, their 25 touches. But, my goals this year are going to be a lot different to what I've set in the past. It's going to be all about playing consistent football and nullifying my opponent and, preventing him from kicking goals because the way I see it, if I can, show, real consistency in the way that I defend and, by not letting my opponent kick any goals each week, I'm probably more likely to get a chance than I would if I was to run around in the midfield and get 30 touches because the clubs know that I can do that, but what that was sort of the question mark over my head was the defensive side of my game. So this year is going to be about proving that I can defend and I've got that intent and that defensive mindset and hopefully someone at the end of the year is looking for a mature age guy that's played 80-odd games of AFL and to strengthen up their backline. Well,
good luck to you, Matt, and all the best. I also think you can make it, so... good luck.
I agree. And Morts, just before you go, so a few things we've got in store for you this year. Pete and I are planning on taking you on in a goal kicking competition just to see if you've still got it, and a few other tasks as well. But make sure you are here next Friday at 2:30. You're going to lead the production meeting, all right? So I want to see if you're ready to go.
I wouldn't miss it, and if you're out there listening, tell your family, tell your friends, tune in next week. It's going to be a blockbuster of a show. Kale Morton arrives again.
back to sin, where it all started for you, Mort.
That's it, just where it all began a few years ago, Donna.
Just a couple of different heads in the chair, isn't that right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the chat, boys.
No worries, mate. Good work. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, mate.
Carl Morton there, Coburg Lions recruit this year and this week in footy recruit. So he'll be back next week. We're going to go to a break and we'll have plenty more after this.
And welcome back. You're listening to This Week in Footy. 0427 767 767. That's the number to text us in on. Yeah, we've already got a couple of text-ins. Actually, we've gotten a few. The one that I like the most is Lovin' the 1D Boys. Now, again, John.
Yeah, look, my those out there who know me,
your music taste isn't as good as your footy knowledge,
would know that my music taste is very girly. I'm a big fan of 1D. I love their work, and Zane leaving was an absolute, was just the worst day of my life.
Nothing. Just keep going. I'm listening to your life story.
The other text here that's very good is good to hear Morton back. So everyone's looking forward to him coming back on board this year, and obviously he'll be back next year. So 0427 767 767 now. I unfortunately did have a little blunder with the music there at the last break, so I apologise for the dead air.
By blunder, I gave you a chord.
Yeah,
and
you gave me the wrong chord.
No, I gave you the right chord. You picked up the wrong chord.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I did pick up the wrong chord, so we had some Beach Boys ready to go for you, and we'll play that in the next. We'll play that as the next song.
Next week, you are not picking the music, mate.
Well, then you come prepared. Don't walk in and tell me to pick the music. Okay, you've done that every year. All right, let's move on to what are we on next? St Kilda GWS and the Western Bulldogs. Are they going in the right direction?
Yes, that's right. They're absolutely killing it. Now the Dogs, they've won two games. They've won the first 2 games.
One against your mob.
Yeah, that's true. And I thought they were going to be at the bottom of the ladder, but you know what?
We both did.
Let's be honest. They could potentially push for an 8 to 10 win bracket, which is going to be great considering
that'll make it close to finals.
They lost their former Brownlow medalist, and they go out and lose Griffin as well, all in the same year.
As well as Liberatore with a knee injury.
That's true. They've lost probably their 3 best midfielders over the past few years, and they're dominating.
But how good is Bontempelli? Bontempelli is just a star, and he is going to be an absolute superstar of this competition in, I'm going to call it, in probably 2 to 3 years minimum. I mean, he could come out this year and blitz it. He could come out next year and blitz it. He's already started off this season with an absolute fire in his belly. So he's going to have to produce a lot of form for the Dogs to go along with, as are the young Bulldogs, all of them.
And with Mitch Wallace, he's absolutely been killing
Luke
it too.
Dalhouse, Lockie Hunter, Jake Stringer, Nathan Rovat.
You know, and then the veterans, Murphy. How great's Murphy been?
I know. And
The
I mean,
whole team is doing well.
They're with the Boyd squared, Tom Boyd and what's his name? I forgot.
Matthew Boyd.
Matthew Boyd. Thank you. I had a brain lapse there. But both
you
of
got those a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. There's not much there. But Matthew Boyd out of the middle has had a phenomenal start to the season. Tom Boyd's had a slow start, obviously, but a 20-year-old or 21-year-old is going to have a slow start when all the pressure of the world's on his shoulders. So, but look, mate, the Doggies, you hit the nail on the head. I agree with you. I thought they were going to finish in the bottom 3 on the ladder. Right now, and obviously we say, it's still early, but right now they're looking better than most as well. They take on Hawthorn this week, which will be a tough task for them. But if they can just fight it out right to the end, and get a bit of match practice into their younger players, it'll be beneficial for them.
How would it be if they got over the Hawks?
I'll tell you what, it would be very big if they got over the Hawks.
It would be massive. People would be talking straight away about finals contenders and all sorts of things like that. Now, we got a text in. Hey, John and the boys. Long-time listener, first-time texter. Loving the music choices, Johnny.
Probably can't read out that last bit either. But, we're back on that. But that's all right. Now, so we talked about the Bulldogs. GWS are probably on a steady incline as well, and more so than the Gold Coast Suns, who we'll touch on later on as well. Can you just stop chuckling at that and get back to and focus on this? But GWS have probably overtaken Gold Coast as in terms of the expansion clubs. I mean, they came out and they weren't great against St Kilda, but they kicked 14 goals straight against Melbourne to run over the top of them. They're going to be scary good in probably a year or two's time.
They are going to be scary good. I actually personally think they're going to be winning between the 8 to 10 goal bracket. Game bracket, sorry. I said this at the start of the year, before round 1, that GWS are going to be a side that aren't going to be the easy beats anymore. They're going to be competitive, and they're going to be competitive all year round. And I genuinely think that. I can't see them being at the bottom. All the way at the bottom, I meant. They're not going to be finals, but I can't see them being at the bottom. And at the moment, from what we've seen, they are ahead of Gold Coast. Well, in the last 2 rounds, just going off those 2 rounds, they are definitely more ahead of Gold Coast.
I agree. It'd be great to see the 2 teams face off this week, obviously without Ablett in the Gold Coast lineup. But, mate, getting Ryan Griffin in there was big for the GWS. A lot of people talked about it being a bad decision by both teams to part ways. But Ryan Griffin adds a lot to that midfield. Shane Mumford's one of the best ruckmen in the comp. He's the biggest person I've ever seen in my life, and if I saw him down a back alley, I would freak out.
What, haven't you seen Aaron Sandilands? Have you seen that guy?
But I'm talking broad shoulders. I'm talking width-wise, he's ginormous.
No, he's pretty big, yeah.
So, I mean, having him there is huge. Treloar is a star. Bug's coming along pretty well as well. Jeremy Cameron is going to be the next Wayne Carey, and I don't care if you agree or not, he's going to be the next Wayne Carey, and, within the next 2 years, he could be turning games on their head. He just signed a 5-year deal. So, I mean, the signs are looking very good for GWS at the moment. I'm really liking what they're doing. And as I said, they're going to be scary good in 2 to 3 years' time.
They are. And I actually think they're going to be scary good maybe a little sooner than what you think.
Maybe next year.
It might be next year. I reckon they'll be pushing for finals hopefully next year. If they improve the way they've been improving over the last few years, they should be a genuine contender. Contender.
I tend to agree. I wouldn't think they'll make finals next year, though. I think
said contender.
No, I know. I agree. But what I'm saying is I agree with you. I think next year would be their year to really get up the ladder to finish 9, 10, 11. And the year after that, I think, is when they go on the attack and get players in and try and make finals. So, I mean, GWS are a big... Why are you wrapping me up? We haven't talked about St Kilda.
No, I'm just about to say it. The last team on the list, you must have put that there. I didn't put that there.
Put that there.
Apparently, St Kilda are on the up and out.
Well,
no,
mate,
but in all fairness,
I am up and about.
Right.
I am up and about for all the right reasons about St Kilda, and you know well that I have talked down St Kilda's chances a little bit over the last few years because I knew that we were going to be on the decline. We probably still are, but have they not played very spirited football in the last 2 weeks?
No, and they got some pretty decent players at the club still. They've got young players running through. They've got some veterans, yes, but majority of them are young and they are coming through quite nicely. And
Josh Bruce is a great find. Paddy McCartan, who could well line up tonight, is a great find. Jack Loney, it was rated... Champion Data rated him the number 1 small forward in the draft. He went pick 41. Luke Dunstan, Blake Acres, Jack Stephen.
I think that kid is going to be a few best and fairest winners. I can't see him not winning 1 or 2 in the future.
And he just signed a 5-year deal, so he knows the direction St Kilda are going in. I really like the look of Hugh Goddard. He's a work in progress. I mean, the signs are there for St Kilda, and I know you like to bash St Kilda.
No, I'm only just... I like stirring you.
I get that. But I really think that it's still going to be a long road, but the signs are there that the Saints are, getting better. And I reckon next year is going to be tough as well. The year after is when we probably start moving up the ladder slightly and working towards 2020.
I agree. And it's about the competitiveness. And from the first 2 games, you've been more competitive than what you were last year.
Tonight will be a good gauge of where we're at, I reckon.
I hope you beat Collingwood, to be honest.
Yeah,
now, I've got one more text in before we wrap up to another song. Jeremy Cameron, the next Wayne Carey. Few dots there and turn it up.
Those few dots are called an ellipsis.
Thank you. I know what they're called.
No, you don't.
I do know what they're. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, well,
you're trying to.
It's an opinion, and
it's an opinion.
People can.
Your opinion's wrong.
Well, settle down, Pete. People can go against that.
I'm actually going to disagree with the text. And I also think that Jeremy Cameron is going to be a future gun. He's already a gun. He won All Australian not last year, the year before. Was I right?
Jeremy Cameron.
Yes. Yep. So he's already a freak, and he's the best forward at GWS, and hopefully he has a long and very good career.
I agree.
At GWS.
Turn it up, texter. Turn it up. But keep texting in, please. I'm glad you guys are listening to the show. Keep texting us in. So I wish we could talk about St Kilda all night, but we can't. I'm getting the wrap up here. 0427 767 767 if you want to join the show. We'll be back after this break with plenty more.
Welcome back, guys. A bit of Backstreet Boys there, and someone is apparently liking your music.
Yeah,
Lol,
absolutely.
I love the song choices. Best show
Why
ever.
Why wouldn't they? Maybe I should choose the songs each week because people are obviously enjoying it. 0427 767 767. Please get on my side, all right, and tell Pete he's a bloody idiot. Pete, you have your VFL rap, so hit it.
That's right. Now the
not
VFL
rap. Preview
because the VFL kicks off this week. They kick off this week. Now, going into the VFL round 1, Geelong take on the Werribee Tigers. Who do you think's going to win that one?
Geelong, Werribee Tigers.
Big match. And but I think Geelong will take the cream of the cake.
The cream of the cake.
I
that doesn't make sense.
Right.
I'm going to write that
one
down.
Well, there's cream on cake, isn't there?
I'm probably going to write that down and just remember that.
Yeah.
Geelong, let's hope their reserves form isn't as poor as their seniors form. Werribee last year had a very good year. I'm tipping I'm going to tip the Werribee Tigers.
You tip the Werribee Tigers. I'm going to tip Geelong. I honestly think, Geelong, will do well.
What about the grand final replay, Box Hill, Footscray?
Tough one. I've been looking at Footscray train. Sorry, not Footscray. Box Hill Hawks train. Yeah. They actually train across the road from where I train.
That's exciting.
Take a look at them, and I actually think Box Hill will take home the victory.
Yeah, I think Box Hill will be hungry after their loss last season to Footscray. Obviously, Footscray, I think they've lost a few players, so I think the Box Hill Hawks too strong. With the amount of depth that's in that Hawthorn side, I think they'll be too strong.
Now moving on to the next game.
Ooh, what a game!
I think I mentioned this. That
the
Cal
debut.
Morton is going to be playing against Richmond at some point. Now Is he playing? I think
he will. From what I'm hearing, he will play.
So he's playing against the Tigers, and they're the Tigers seconds. And there's some pretty good there's a good strong Tigers lineup this week, and
Not the Tigers seconds, it's the VFL seniors,
well,
but I get what
yeah,
you're
but
saying. Yeah,
it technically is Richmond's.
well,
but
yeah,
whatever
sorry,
Richmond
that's true.
players
Sorry,
don't
that's
play
true.
that are fit.
Where's this game being played? Piranha Park, is it?
Yes, it's
in
been
Coburg.
played.
Okay,
That's right. And there's
so
some pretty good players playing in that game.
once upon a time, the Coburg were the Coburg Tigers, and
Yeah.
that's where all the former Richmond players played. So it's basically a battle of who's better this week. So I think just for Morton, I think the Lions, the now Lions, Coburg Lions, are going to win.
Sorry, Kale. I think Richmond are going to win. It's my team. I'm sorry.
We'll get him back on the phone, mate. He won't be happy.
I apologize. Oh, you know what? I'll make him. I think the Tigers are going to win. Is that better?
No, that's not better. But keep going. Come on.
Now the
Keep
next
going.
one is the Northern Blues take on Williamstown, and I genuinely think Williamstown's going to win this one.
Yeah, not a big fan of Northern Blues, so Williamstown for me. They're pretty strong, and they'll have a crack again this year.
Now North Ballarat take on the Pies, and I think the Pies will be a little too strong today.
Yeah, Collingwood.
Well, when they play, that is.
Collingwood, it says there, Sunday. Collingwood against North Ballarat. Toss of the coin for me. I think Collingwood, they'll be too strong.
They are too strong. I've looked at the Collingwood lineup. At AFL level, they're probably not ready to take that extra step, but at the same time, at VFL level, I think they're going to be quite competitive. Casey's take on Frankston. What do you think of this game?
Casey take on Frankston. It could be an interesting one. Casey are pretty good. I think the Scorpions will win this one.
Okay, now the next game. Now Sandringham take on
the
Essendon.
Zebs.
Now
The Zebs.
Port Melbourne aren't playing this week, are they?
No, they're not. They may have a bye this week, which,
do have a bye this week.
tends to happen.
And an interesting one with Port Melbourne is I want to bring it up after this game.
Yeah.
After this game, who do you tip?
I'm sticking with the St Kilda reserves, Sandringham. Ready to have a big year. They've brought in Mitch Brown, Clinton Jones, and Trent Dennis-Lane come into the side. So they'll be pretty strong this year, and Essendon no doubt will be strong. But I think Sandringham will win this one.
I tend to agree with you this time. I genuinely think they're going to be very, very strong. I look forward to Clint Jones taking that extra step.
We'll see,
And,
won't we?
he played for Essendon's reserves. Mitch Brown, did you say? He also
Mitch
played.
Brown, yep.
He also played. So it's interesting because they were technically playing with these players a few weeks ago in the VFL.
That's
NAB
very
Cup,
true.
And
That's
they're going
very
to be playing
true.
against them round one in the VFL. So they might get a bit of an edge there. As well.
Very good, very good. They will. So that's the VFL wrap. That was pretty.
But
That was pretty.
No, hang on. We got to go with one more thing.
Oh, sorry. Go.
I did say that I wanted to bring
sorry,
this up.
sorry,
There have
yes.
been a lot of players who have left Port Melbourne. Now, that's alarm bells for Port Melbourne fans.
Correct.
Dan Connors is gone. Shane Valenti is gone as
Yep,
well. And
yep.
former Carlton player, his name has slipped my memory, but he is also gone. He didn't play any games. He was just listed at the club. But still, three
Fair enough.
Three
fair enough.
quality players have left that outfit. So hopefully for Gary Ayres, they can perform this year.
Correct. Now, I think we'll review that segment. I'm not sure if it's worth keeping in next week. We've got a couple of text messages
the
in.
VFL's always
VFL
good.
Poof. Yeah, there you go. Get the real footy on.
The VFL's good. It's important. Cal's going to be talking about it next week. Now,
Yeah. Now we'll move on. We'll move on to.
I gotta read this one.
well, you don't
No,
have
this
to
one's for
read
me. Losing all respect for you, Pete. Choosing these songs. Be prepared to cop it at footy tomorrow.
Yeah, Brooksy.
Jeez,
I'm the
Brooksy.
one choosing the
Mate,
songs here.
He's the one choosing the songs. Don't blame that on me, mate.
Yeah. Is Brooksy a teammate of yours? Is he? Pete?
Nah, he's a good player too.
Yeah, good on you, Brooksy. Go Ellie Park Sharks, Division 4.
Division 3.
Sorry, Division 3. Okay, now let's go to a segment that you and I very much enjoyed last year. We love to pop players here, and
Loved it.
We'll start with, we call it the players of the week, but we're also doing the worst player of the week. So we'll start with the worst player of the week. I'll kick it off. Now, it's a tough one because he's been through a lot, but Mitch Clark had an absolute stinker last week. He had five disposals, 2 goals, and a couple of handballs. His stats weren't great, so I wasn't going to pot cockatoo in his second game because he was only the sub. De Boer was pretty poor, but I thought Clark was probably the worst player on the ground for the Cats.
It's tough to say. I mean, he still kicked a couple. He still kicked a couple. So it's not a terrible game. So I'm going to disagree with you. But it's not as good as what he has the potential to produce.
Okay.
I think the worst player of the entire round was... I'm really sorry for the person that I'm about to give a little rubbish to Clem Smith of the Blues. And
Well, he's been dropped.
He's been dropped.
He's been dropped.
For good reasons, too. He didn't have a very good game. I think he had 4 disposals.
Yeah, so really good output from young Clem Smith. Obviously, he's still young. I think he was picked 21 in the draft, so he'll get better as he goes along. Now, player of the week, Pete, you start us off.
Josh Kennedy.
Josh Kennedy, 10 goals. Very predictable. Very predictable by you.
I'm sorry. I watched the game, and I was loving it. I loved watching Josh Kennedy play, and the reason I'm picking him was because it was against his old mob. He dominated against his old mob, and that's why I picked him.
Yeah, that's fair. And look, I would have probably picked him as well, but look, I'm going to go with one of my own, David Armitage, 36 disposals, 13 kicks, 23 handballs, 5 marks and 2 tackles. Absolute blistering display of football, and let's hope he can do it again tonight. Now, Pete, we need to quickly go through this round's games and get the tips because we're running out of time. So we'll start off with tonight, the Saints versus the Pies. Really interesting clash, this one. The Saints, everyone's giving the Saints a little bit of a chance here. So how do you see it? At the MCG, where the Saints don't traditionally play a lot of football, and it's wet outside as well. Remember that.
Look, I think it'll be closer than what you think.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people think that is. I think it will be closer, but I don't think the Saints will win. But I think it'll be a very close match, and they will come close to winning.
Absolutely. Schneider comes in for the Saints, and there is a bit of an injury cloud over Nick Riewoldt. Should he go out, we will see number 1 draft pick Paddy McCartan play tonight, but let's hope Nick Riewoldt isn't out. For the Pies, Dwyer and Galt are in, and for Solo and Sinclair out. Did you tip the Saints?
No, I did not tip the Saints.
Okay.
I tipped Collingwood, but only just.
That sums you up.
Only just.
Let's move on to Saturday afternoon. This could be an absolute belter, but I think it's going to go one way. Personally, Carlton are taking on Essendon. Walker, Armfield, Cripps, and Kieran Byrne, the Irishman, are in for the Blues. White, Tutt, Menzel, Smith omitted, and Gwilt is out for the Bombers, and in comes the veteran Dustin Fletcher. This could be a blowout, but at the same time, Carlton usually play quite well against Essendon.
Is this his 400th game, or is it
No.
coming up?
And he missed one, so I think he's still got another 6 weeks.
He's got another 6 weeks to go. Good luck to him. I think it's pretty obvious who I think.
I'm not sure.
It's not going to be the Blues.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate it, but they're not doing very well.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Bombers showed something against Hawthorn the other week.
Adelaide are taking on Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval. This could be also a blowout. Melbourne would want to play a lot better than they did last week. Scotty Thompson and Jack Kelly, I think it is, coming to the side. Kelly's on debut. Cheney and Grigg are out. Kennedy Harris, the cult figure, the big fella, comes back in. And Viney, unfortunately, with a broken leg, goes out. Can't see Melbourne winning this.
No, neither can I. Sorry about that, Melbourne. But you know what? Yeah, round one. Round one was a very impressive game. I was at the game and I loved it. They moved the ball quite well. Round two.
So good.
The first half was pretty impressive, and then you didn't do much after that.
Yeah, correct. So we'll move on to Sydney GWS. A lot of talk about this game during the week as Adam Goods has been dropped. I think he did request if he was going to wear the subs vest in the AFL this week. He did say, I'd rather go down to the NEAFL and play, but a lot of people are questioning that decision and questioning whether he played on too long. So he misses out, as does Nick Smith, who today got injured. McGlynn and Cunningham come in, and Phillips in for Tomlinson for the Giants. I think Sydney are going to do it pretty easily here, I think.
I think Sydney will do it pretty easily. But then again, this time last year it was GWS. They got on top, so you never know. I agree. I think Adam Goods probably would have retired last year if they won the flag.
Yeah, I agree. We've got to get through these last few pretty quickly. North Melbourne are taking on Port Adelaide, and it's getting almost to panic stations for Port. And I think this could go against them, actually, at Etihad Stadium. I think North are coming out with a renewed confidence. Obviously, they lose Del Santo and Tippett. Tarrant and Bastanak come in. Cracker, Mitchell, Young, and young Brandon Archie comes in for Port Adelaide with Corns, Red and Need, and Impey missing out. Look, I think Port are still going to make top four. I think both sides are going to make top four. I just think North are going to win this one in a very, very close tussle.
Yeah, Port will win, and it will be a very, very good game.
We move up to the Gabba, and the Lions are taking on Richmond. This could be a tough one for the Tigers.
Nah, dude, they're not going to be... Nah, it's going to be tough. It's always tough to move to Brisbane, regardless of where they are on the ladder. It's not an easy match, and I think Richmond are going to have... they're going to have their hands full, but I think you know who I'm going to tip.
Interesting to see Leuenberger's been omitted, as well as Lester, Close and O'Brien. Staker, Aish, Gardner and Harris Andrews plays his first game. Come in for the Lions. Knights, Edwards and Asprey come in for the Tigers. Good to see Knights back.
Good to see Asprey back too.
Yeah. Quickly, Hawks, Bulldogs. We won't go through the teams because they're squads. Hawks, Bulldogs.
For Hawks.
I'm tipping Richmond in the other game as well, by the way. And I'm tipping the Hawks here. I can't say I'm losing 2 in a row. Cats, Suns, quickly.
Cats, I think, will go 0-1. I don't see the Suns doing it.
I think the Cats are going to win at Simmons as well. And in the derby, Freo are taking on West Coast. I think Nat Fyfe will be too strong, and I think Freo will win.
I think if West Coast play the way they played last week, it'll be a lot closer than you think, but I think Freo will win as well.
Well, there you go. That's